This is Devices Episode 1, 10 macOS Finder Tips You've Forgotten About. Hi, I'm Troy McNeil. I'm a TV post-production engineer. I've worked in television and film for over 20 years. I've been around. I like to make stuff and I love tech. Look, we're all addicted to tech. I want to share with you guys how to make the most out of your love of devices. I'll go through tech in post, the studio, and the workshop. This is all your vices, all your devices. Episode 1, 10 Mac OS Finder Tips You've Forgotten About. These are base functions. So, as you can certainly use things like iCloud and shortcuts.app to expand the Finder's uses, this video is all about blowing off the dust. Maybe I'll do another about expanding the capabilities of the Finder using various methods. Let me know in the comments. Here we go. Number 1, connect to server. Use Command and the letter K to connect to servers. You can enter URLs and IP addresses to mount SMB volumes, but you can also enter AFP://FTP:// or WebDev ones as well. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Over in the Finder, we are going to go Command K. And there we go. This brings up the connect to server, this little guy here. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go and here we go with FTP 10.0.140. That I know is the IP address of the ATEM switcher that I have on my network. Okay. So I can go and hit enter. Passwords are really tough for this one. And then there you go. There is the SSD that's hanging off the ATEM. Now, if you want to do another one, we'll close that one. Again, an Apple K. Now, you don't have to just do FTP. You can do SMBs, or if you leave it blank, it'll use SMB as well. You can also use fully qualified domain names, FQDNs. And here, this one will take me back to my Office Synology. That gives me all the shares over there, and I can mount anything from work just like it's a local drive here. It's a great one, connect to server and Apple K. Now moving on to number 2, rename Finder items. This one used to be only in Automator, and it was a pain in the butt to make a service in the Finder in every new Mac you were on. I move around a lot of machines with my day job, so I'm constantly having to set up new services, new things on each one. If I want to customize one machine and I want to be able to use that across a bunch of machines, it's always difficult. So I try to stay with the defaults. But now it's built into the Finder on a right click. I use this one a lot on image sequences because I do a lot of VFX frame pulls, meaning a lot of image sequences where you have a series of still images that make a video, essentially. Old school animation. Bonus points if you can remember which version of Mac OS integrated this feature into the right click for good. Okay, I'm back into the Finder. Here we go with, I'm going to use Apple K. Not hit it twice. Connect. And I'm going to go and get one of my VFX folders. Now here's a set of shots that I probably will have to blur out. But as you can see, this is a series of images. Now, if I want to, I'm going to hold Shift and select a few to show the process. This is a work file, so I can't really change much. But now if you go down, you have rename right here. I'm going to click on rename, and you get add text, replace text, or format text. So you can add before or after names for format thing. I usually am looking at replacing text. Because the spacing, you want it, is with VFX work, you're going to need it to be all one character string, so the underscores are there. You need to be able to add something to something. In this case, it's left over. It'll always leave what you last did in this dialog. So I was finding everything in with a 4 dash and replace that word with family for whatever reason I can't remember now. So it'll go through and find everything with 4 dash and put the family in here. Pro tips, if you want to pad this out, you add a space before or after. That'll make it give a space on either side. Otherwise, it'll be butt right up against the next character string in line. That is replace Finder items. Bulk editing names is what it is. Moving on to number 3, Command Tab. Now this is one I use all the time. It is so useful. You can eliminate the need for Stage Manager or anything like that. I use this every day, pretty much every hour. I don't use Stage Manager or different desktops and swap between them, unless maybe on the laptop where you're confined for space anyway. Here's what I do. I just hide an app. I'm going to bring up the ATEM switcher. I will Command H, and then when I need it back, I'm going to go Command and Tab. I'll take myself off the screen here. There's a list of all my open applications right now. And I can tab through. See a jiggle there every time I'm tabbing. I'm hitting the tab button a bunch of times. Now here's a pro tip. Add in Shift, Tab, and you're going to go backwards to the left or to the right. And it's a quick and easy way to get at those apps you've hidden without having to use separate desktops or any of the like. All right, so that's number 3, Command Tab, with a bit of a bonus for Apple H. I am foreshadowing something there. Command H. Command H will hide your apps, and you can use Command Tab to get back and forth with all of your open applications. Number 4, we have Finder icons copying and pasting. Did you know that in Mac OS, you can take an icon, get info with it, Apple I, that popped on my other screen, here we go, Command I, there is a get info window for this volume. Now, I am going to make a new folder. Now you see when a new folder comes up, it's just a generic folder flavored folder, right? Here we go. So this is now just a generic folder, but if I want to say I want to steal this icon for it, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go and click on that icon there. You can see it's highlighted now. It's got that blue ring around. And I'm going to just use copy. I'm going to come over here on this other icon, this Finder or folder icon. I'm going to get and highlight that as well. See that there? Okay, we're highlighted, and I'm going to paste. And there we've stolen that icon from this drive, the VFX drive, over to this untitled folder. You could even do this with applications. Say I like this AnyDesk application. I'm going to get info on it, do the same thing, highlight it, going to copy it, and over here, I'm going to paste it. And now we have an AnyDesk folder that's ready to use all of our AnyDesk bookmarks. Okay, so that's Finder icons, copying and pasting. Number 4, moving on. Number 5, show and hide the dock. Command Option D. This one comes in super handy whenever I'm using remote app access to a machine. A lot of guys will show and hide their dock so they can get the most real estate out of their screen. With this little shortcut, you can get the dock back and then put it back away quick and easy. Here we go. Apple Option D will show and hide the dock. Just as a toggle, it will show and hide the dock. All right, up to number 6. This is Sidebar. Finder Preferences, Command and comma to get to the preferences of most applications, or settings as they're sometimes now called. So here we go. Here's this Finder settings. I was in the Finder up here in the top. You can see there's the Finder is the foremost application. And whenever I hit Command and comma, it will bring up the Finder preferences. Now, here is a couple of examples of types of things you can do with this area. Now, CDs, DVDs, and iPods, not really going to happen. Your iPhone will show up there as part of that one. But that one, generally, there's not really much of those types of removable media anymore. But you can say show or hide hard drives. If you had one, or I only have the one system drive on this machine. If you had more internally, that would show and hide all the wired internal hard drives. This next one, external drives, You can see that my media drive is actually in an enclosure that's connected via Thunderbolt to this machine. So it is an external disk, and that's going to come and go as I choose that next one. That's external disks. Now we're going to come down to connected servers at the bottom here, okay? Now, you're going to see that network drive. You can see it with those three people. That's their share icon, their network drive, common. It's a way to say network drive. This drive, now, as I click connected servers, is going to go away. And you can see that come and go. I personally like to have these all on all the time. I don't like having that much of a sparse desktop, although for this show, I kind of tried to clean up and company was coming, so I wanted to be nice and tidy. Now, if we go over to the sidebar here, that's that third tab over, sidebar, you're going to get a whole bunch of choices here as for what you can show and hide in a Finder window here on the sidebar, okay? That's what all of these types of things that we're going to see down the side. I have a lot of things going on in here, but for you, you might not. But what that's going to do is you can choose, pick and choose if you want to see your iCloud drive. Maybe you don't even have or use iCloud drive, so you're going to uncheck that. But this is the Finder prefs and the sidebar. There's a few other things over here that you can customize, although I generally leave these to the defaults. Moving on to number 7. This is Finder prefs column view and switching with list view, okay? So now when we open a new Finder window and we Apple J, this is going to give us view options for when you open a window, okay? So here I was in column view and now I'm going to go to new. Still going to be in column view, but if I switch to list view, for all of you people that live in barns, column view is superior. Discuss. But you can set it to always open in list view, right? So you can really dial in what you want to do here. I'm going to leave it in always open column view. You can have it grouped and organized, but those things are, I find I usually need to switch them. So what I'll do is I'll group here when I need it. I won't have a default at all. That defaults back to using the name as the sort order. Okay. So notice I have A, B, C, D for my drives. That keeps them sorted in an order that I want. You can change the text size. I like the real estate, so up to you there. But the preview column, if you were to click on something, here's an image of, me starting a fire. Yeah, so that preview column is that column. Watch those guys when I show icon preview on and off. And maybe that's for privacy. Now we're going to add on a little bonus to this one. It's number 8. I thought it was different enough to be able to stand on its own. This is the view preferences that are different between the desktop and a Finder window. Okay, here we go. Okay, so in the Finder, we're going to get our view up. That's Apple J, Command J. We can organize and stack them, right? We can stack by kind. That's just going to give us a whole bunch of things there. We can change the icon size, grid spacing. Those are things you don't get in the Finder normally, okay? So we can change the text size, where the text is, right? You can show item info or not. I like to see how much storage space. I'm constantly battling that, so I always want to see that, okay? Now, if I open up a Finder window and I still have this open, you notice it's changed a little bit. The grid spacing and the icons are added in there. Okay, so that's, plus you get your column view. So be aware whatever window or what is in the foreground, that view option panel will change. This is what I was alluding to earlier on in the video, and I love it. This is number 9, get info versus the inspector panel in the Finder. It comes in super handy whenever you are comparing two files to see if something's done copying, maybe. You're going to see if there's enough space for something, and you don't want to be constantly switching around. Okay, so I'm going to say on this to sort folder, I'm going to Command I. I'm going to get an info panel for that item, okay? Now, if I highlight it and I go Command Option I, I'm going to get this thing that looks very, very similar. However, this is an inspector window. It's quite different, okay? See up here at the menu bar, it's slightly different than the Get Info window. A little fatter. If you can just see them side by side there, you see that the inspector, the text is a little bit smaller because that menu bar of it is a little bit shorter. And it's the same info. However, there's one thing it does differently. If we're over here and we're clicked on this to sort folder, it's going to show to sort. But if I click on the media drive, look at that. It updated to be showing me details about that media drive. Super handy. Now, whatever I click on, the Mac OS, this untitled drive, this untitled drive, it's going to stay with me and show me info. Really, really useful when comparing two items or checking if you have enough space somewhere for something. Okay, and here we are at number 10. This is Go To Folder. This is handy for the power users if you need to get to any of those hidden system directories, like the user library. Yeah, not sure about that one, Apple, but Go To Folder is super useful. So in the Finder, we're going to go up and go, you see here, Go To Folder, okay? Command-Shift-G will give you the Go To Folder settings. So here you could say / etc. and pop. You're in, you can see now, if you look here, I'm in my etc. And in there is a whole bunch of hidden folders that if you don't know what you're doing, you could break your system, okay? So don't. There's cups for printing. There's defaults for different things. There's a whole bunch of system files in here that are super important that you shouldn't be messing with unless you know what you have to do. But that's the Go To Folder. You can go to any of those hidden folders, things you're not supposed to see. Number 11. Yeah, I got you. The contextual transformations window. This is almost the best for last. I love this thing. Okay. Now, if we're in any sort of a word processing document or email or anywhere there's text and you could select it and you're editing text, this is super handy. I'm just going to do it on the hard drive itself as we go over to the Finder. Now I'm going to take this hard drive here and I'm going to say I want to change the name of that. So I'm going to highlight it. Now, it doesn't matter. I'm only doing it on the name of this hard drive. If it was a Word doc, if it was a Pages doc, if it was an email, you get this awesome submenu. Transformations. Submenu is make uppercase, make lowercase, and capitalize. I am constantly switching between upper and lowercase. I like to have my Finder labeled in all caps. Okay, but I don't want to text my friends in that. Sometimes I get stuck and I forget that I have my caps lock on and I'm suddenly shouting at my friends. I don't want to make them mad. I don't want to make them sad. I don't want to shout at them. So I don't. And I fix it here. That is number 11, the contextual transformations menu. Long name for 3 options, but it's super awesome, super handy. So this is the bonus one. You can lock your Mac screen with a keystroke, and it's super easy. You don't have to select a menu item, not sure what it is. And here we go. This is Command, Control, and Q. Now that locks your screen right away. You're done, provided you have a good password. Okay, so you're locking your Mac. You're not shutting it down. Drives are still spinning. Hopefully you can't hear that fan noise. But if you have any questions or tips that you'd like to see me tackle or expand on, let me know in the comments. Also, bonus points if you can remember when Apple stopped calling it the Apple key and started calling it the Command key. I was doing it all video, switching between the two because I started with Apple when it was called the Apple key, and I just want to see if anybody out there remembers those days. Like and subscribe. Keep the dream alive. Thanks, everybody.